All right. Hello, people of the future. It is I, Donny Cho of Donny Cho Says Stuff. Tonight is going to be a pre-record because about 3 nights ago now, 3 nights ago, a really scary thing happened in our country's history, folks. I know some of you might have a lot of anxiety about some of the state of affairs in our country and with the American people and the political system and with current events. After the results of the election, personally started getting really scared and nervous for the future of our country and the direction we're going in because that fat orange son of a bitch got elected. And as I'll say it, as a non-white Asian man, I am now terrified. I now feel like the rest of the country is out to get me. And now I must defend myself because of that orange freak. So tonight, guys, I have decided to announce that I, Donny Cho, will be taking actual ninja lessons. There's a strip mall like across town where I live in Maryland. They offer like ninjutsu classes, and I will use my ancient arts of my peoples to defend against these these racists and these misogynists and these haters of all things good and fair, these fucking orange ogre supporters. And I'm going to invite my friend up here, um, who I would say feels the same way. Randall,
Yep.
do you feel the same kind of anxiety and pressure?
Well, we elected a Oompa Loompa, so ain't a whole lot I can say a whole lot about it. So, um,
Hey, man, but you're white. You're safe. I'm like worried for my personal security now.
let me explain something to you. Okay,
All right.
that man is no good for the oil field. And guess what I work with? I work for the oil field.
Well,
And the only reason
that
I
man's
say
no
that,
good for Asians. Guess what I work with?
yeah,
I
exactly.
am
So
Asian. Every day
I'm
I can't be not Asian, guys.
I sit there and I listen to people talk about, oh, good.
Yo, I'm
When he
fucked.
was in office before, we had
I'm
dollar
I'm
20
totally screwed.
gasoline. Yeah, but we go from $1.20 gasoline. It goes to $3 or $4 at one point, and back then I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, yeah, but you're having to hire the guy to mow your lawn who was working out in the oil field, who now no longer has a job.
Well, Randall, I think because you and I both share in our grief and our anxiety about the direction of this country,
My heart
I guess
palpitates.
we'll finally invite on our next co-host here, who I guess the show is going to be based around because it is his time
To shine.
and to rub it all in our faces.
Yep. Yep. I accept it.
Here he is.
Thank you. Don't put him up there.
Oh no. So,
And
Jason, what do you have to say for yourself?
I have well, technically three very important comments. Firstly, ninjutsu is from Japan. Stop being a traitor, Donnie. Secondly, I know you're not pulling that I'm a woke tard bullshit.
We got Korean
I get it from
ninjas.
Randy. No, you do not have Korean ninjas. You have special forces. But this is for that 20 minutes of hell in the last episode that you made me do. We all know
Right.
you hate woke. So Donnie, drop the act. The only woke tard we need here is Randy.
I'm not
Oh yeah,
offended.
Randy is a bit of a woke tard.
I'm
Okay,
not
you know what?
offended.
Yes.
You know what?
And hold on. And this is the most important part. You should be. Because
I'm
I'm enjoying the
offended.
Schadenfreude of
The
the
pain, though.
lamentations of all of these insane and insipid children just screaming into the ether. It is delicious. I'm absorbing them like Goku absorbing that spirit ball. The energy will fuel me for decades now.
Who?
And that's my point. Thank you for thank you. Good night. I have been proven correct. I'm getting some kind of weird sound over here. Anyway,
Yeah. It's called the internet going, oh my God, shut him up.
nope. Oh no, I mentioned Goku. The
Hmm.
internet just screamed with joy, like I'm screaming with joy at the
No.
moment, and reveling
Okay,
in the
so
lamentation
Jason,
of the woke tards. Yes,
walk me
Donny.
through your experience of election night. What were you doing? What was going through your head, or what were you how were you responding throughout the course of the night? Walk
And
us
when did
through
you
what election
climax
night
all
was
against the
for
wall?
you. Yeah.
Honestly, I was just doing chores and stuff around the house.
You had
Like,
the TV running though, right?
oh yeah, yeah. I was actually. So I was listening to. I was. It wasn't the TV. It was on the laptop because the mainstream or the legacy media is dead. But yeah, no, I was listening to that stuff. But I was just doing normal cleanup stuff around the house because what am I going to do? I'm sit there and just watch for like 12
Well, people
hours?
were
No.
straight up just sitting there watching.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know a
I
bunch
mean,
of them.
I was listening, but I was watching because again, that's why I was watching. I was watching Crowder. They had bits going, and it's hilarious. So, but I was doing other stuff. I mean, I had it on my phone most of the time, and I was just doing normal stuff around the house because at the end of the day, it is still just a thing. Life has to go on.
Exactly.
That is true. Okay,
The fun,
let me ask you this.
yes.
At what point were you like, okay, Trump won?
I honestly because of just again last year, just
Mhm.
we've been talking about this the whole time. I felt positive about Trump, but I was never sold that he was going to win this one because
Mhm.
just BS. In fact, what we're seeing in Arizona right now with the senator run, that's an episode into itself.
Mhm.
So I was just like, okay, let's just wait and see what happens. That was
Yeah.
it. Wait and see. I was a little more concerned with the Allred Cruz. I felt less optimistic about that, but that was solid. Really,
Oh,
once
we're
they
going to
called,
argue on that one.
that's fine.
Mhm.
But once we got to when they called Pennsylvania, I knew it was over.
Mhm.
Oh, I thought it was before that, actually.
Well,
I really did.
again, there's a difference between even if he had lost Pennsylvania, he still really would have won. However, by
Mhm.
that point, there was still some mathematical wiggle room for her. But by the
Yeah.
time they called Pennsylvania, it's over.
It's done. Yeah.
Yeah, it's done. So that's when I was like, okay, we made this. And then the rest of it was, well, but are we picking up senators, Congress people? How are the down ticket or down ballot races going?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And of course the numbers, the breakdowns. That's what my concern was for later on. Just looking at the breakdowns, who went where where the polls. For me, the thing I loved the most was seeing how even in blue areas he was picking up support in areas that everyone's like, what's going on? My favorite.
Exactly.
Hold on. As far as the Schadenfreude aspect, and for those of you who don't know
Okay.
what Schadenfreude
All right,
is,
I'll define it.
please.
Okay, because that is the title, right? It's
Yep.
raining Schadenfreude. And for those, please admire my thumbnail because I feel like it's one of my proudest achievements in terms of thumbnails that I've made for
It is
for
one
this
of your
show.
best. It
It's one
is.
of my better ones.
Yeah.
So Schadenfreude is my personal favorite word in the German language.
Yes.
That and Scheiße.
Scheiße.
Yeah.
Scheisse.
But Schadenfreude means because there's no actual English direct translation
Mm-mm.
for it,
It's
but
not.
it is the emotion of feeling delight at another person's failure, foibles, or just public embarrassment. Schadenfreude.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Now, for you sports fans out there, you all have a favorite team, but you all have a hated team or a hated quarterback, right? Maybe every time they get egg in their face, your dick gets a little hard. That, my friends, is Schadenfreude.
It's true.
Okay. I have a question then.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
spent 4 years in Germany and literally never heard that term at all.
It's a
So I'm trying
psychological
to
term. Yeah, it's a psychological term that
Yeah.
has been popularized like so many things
in the last year or
It's
so,
the
I guess,
taking
maybe.
delight in another person's failure.
Yeah.
For me, It
It's like about
was
5 years it's been popularized.
yeah. You know, like that. Okay, what's a good example for me? Concord, that video game
Yeah.
that came out
Oh,
with
yeah,
all
yeah.
those stupid fucking. They added like pronouns on the fucking
Yep.
robot and
Yep.
shit, and all the characters were all like stupid and woke looking. And then
No,
that game
I don't
totally
know.
bombs. And then Sony's just like, we're going to give everyone refunds, even though they spent like $500 million on it.
It was
Yeah.
up for 2 weeks. The game was up for 2 weeks, and they
Yep.
killed it. It was so
And
bad.
I was watching so many videos and just taking delight in all of their, oh, sad, woe is me tweets. The developers were like, oh, you chuds, oh, you Trump supporters, you sabotaged us. Bleh, you hate trans people. You hate LGBT rights. And I'm like, and everyone else
It
is
has
like,
nothing to do
no,
with
we
that.
just hate shitty ass video games and
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
suck and eat
Now, that's
shit.
one thing we will agree on.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. You can put whatever pronoun you want on it. If it's a bad game, it's a
Yeah.
bad
Your
game.
game sucks. Go suck a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they were already doing that.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
that's why they wanted to force the trans agenda. There you
Yeah.
go.
Exactly.
yeah.
Anyway,
I'm gonna get.
They
I'm gonna
gave
get blacked
the
off for that
fucking
one.
robot pronouns, people.
it's
The robot. This thing looked like a giant vacuum cleaner. They gave it pronouns. Fuck
Can
out
I
of
make
here,
a point on
man.
that one? Can I make a
Yeah.
point on that one? We're talking about the that kind of stuff right there. That's precisely probably why Flash didn't do any good.
the movie.
The movie The Flash.
Yeah.
Ezra freaking Miller, who is they,
Yeah.
them, this, that, the other thing. I got an idea.
Yeah.
He's not that. He's a dumbass, is what he is, as
Yeah.
Red Foreman would say. He's a dumbass.
Mm-hmm.
So was the entire freaking movie. Worst CGI out of any DC I've
That
ever
was the
seen.
worst.
No,
that was the
actually,
worst thing.
Randy,
What?
I liked certain parts of it, okay?
If you
I
tell
liked
me you like
parts of
Nick
it.
Cage, I'm going to punch you in the face myself.
What? I love that Nick Cage part. What are you talking about? That was one of my favorite bits in the
Ladies and
movie.
gentlemen, we are done tonight.
No,
It is
I'm
all-
serious.
I cannot argue.
What are
with
you
I
talking
cannot
about?
debate stupid, okay? It's not going to happen. Nope,
What?
nope. Mm-mm.
No, okay. I'll be serious now. When that Nick Cage bit came on in that Flash movie where Nick Cage
marked
comes out
out,
as
didn't you?
Superman and fucking
You marked
lasers
out,
that
didn't you?
giant spider in half, I'm just
You
like,
marked out, didn't you?
why didn't we get this movie? Why didn't we
Because
get this
it
movie?
sucks.
I wanted this movie.
Anything with Nicolas Cage sucks. That's why.
Oh, hold on.
Oh,
Whoa,
stop right
whoa,
there.
Whoa. Don't.
Wait.
We've
We're
already established that
diverging.
you're rogue. Hold
We're
on.
diverging away from the topic, gentlemen. I'm just
Yeah.
telling you straight out. Nick Cage sucks. Okay, go ahead.
Watch Pig, and then come back, and we'll talk about that.
Pig's an outlier. I'll say that. Pig's an outlier. It is an outlier.
Anyway.
You name me another one that he did that was even close to being as good as that.
Face Off.
Go ahead.
Well, that's all I gotta say. Con Air.
Gone in 60 seconds.
Con Air. Con Air was a fucking masterpiece, sir.
If
The
I ever have
Rock,
to listen
bunny.
to him with that fake ass damn Southern accent, put down the bunny. Mother, you're lucky Bing Rames didn't rip your head clean off.
Put the bunny down. Get it right. You put respect
Doesn't
on that
make
quote.
no-
No,
different.
man, that movie was a masterpiece. They made Steve Buscemi the serial killer. I
Yeah.
love that.
Look, he deserved to be the serial killer. He was one of the best parts of the movie. But
Yeah.
just because of
Yeah.
his, if it had been anybody else in that role,
Hold
with
on.
John,
The Rock? You're telling me The Rock is bad?
You know, yeah, that's what I mentioned earlier. The Rock, come
The
on,
Rock
man.
sucked. Now you're listen,
What?
Whoa.
Now you're talking
Whoa.
to a Sean Connery and Ed Harris are the only ones that made that movie worth the crap. Because now you're sitting there talking to an actual chemical soldier. Okay, when I see somebody sitting there throwing these beads of VX out and saying, "Oh, I could literally physically do jumping jacks in a puddle of VX and not get it on my skin and not have any ill effects because it's not a freaking vapor hazard." Secondly,
it's a conceit of the film. Every movie, any movie breaks down if you apply any kind of logic to most of the plot points.
problem is I've got soldiers going to be at a gas chamber when we're testing their chemical equipment, and they're coming to me, well, hey, is the Rock real? Low crawl. Get your ass down on the damn ground and start low crawling. I literally did it because I got
man.
so mad at that movie. Nicolas Cage, if it wasn't for Sean Connery, it would not be worth watching at all. It's that damn bad. Anyway, so
Anyway,
okay.
back
Speaking,
back to reality.
okay. Quick
Sorry,
question.
ran over.
All right.
Nick Cage
So,
ran over.
Jason,
Yes. So
In
yeah,
your
my
opinion.
favorite point.
wait, hold on. In your opinion,
yeah.
let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
In your opinion, where did the Democrats fuck up?
That is a very long and complicated part.
Give me some of your,
So this is where, okay, so again, this actually ties into my favorite little moment of Schadenfreude. I forget
Okay.
who it was, but they were on CNN, and he was one of the anchors, and he was asking the analyst, well, what counties and what groups did Kamala overperform in? I mean, what did she do better than Biden in 2020? And he said not one of them. And the reaction to him is delicious. The simple fact of the matter is this was a repudiation of everyone because, and this is the fundamental point.
How did they react to them though? Like what?
Well, that's
were
that's
they
where
all
that's
like
where I'm coming. This
gasping?
is where they
Okay.
went. This is where they went wrong.
Okay.
And actually, it goes back. In fact, Concord is an example of what I'm about to say.
Okay.
What happened is, and this has been a very long time in coming, and really you could argue it started in Obama's administration and just carried through. But the Democrat Party stopped listening to people, and they bought into their own into the woke ideology that they were supporting.
Yeah.
They started, but they bought into an ideology for clicks. And it's one of those things where it's all fun and games until it's your ox getting gored.
Yeah.
And I would like to sit here and say that the repudiation is because people woke up and they understand the differences and their ideologies have evolved. The simple fact of the matter is the vast majority of most people in any civilization are non-ideological. Most people don't live their lives according to an ideological bent one way or the other. They go off of instinct. They go off of societal pressures. They don't think about how they live their lives. They just do it. They don't have this codified method of thinking and approaching a situation. They kind of go on gut instinct. So it's very reactionary in a lot of ways and bound by social pressures. What the Democrats have done over the last 16 years, but really hit hard post-COVID and during COVID, was this ideological breakdown of this woke, all of that. It's all of it. And basically everyone just said, okay, I can't afford anything. And when I complain that I can't afford anything and you're starting wars all over the place, I just kept getting told that we need to surgically mutilate kids, and I'm a bigot for just being male or white or whatever. Or if I don't agree with what you're doing, or I ask, why are you spending all this money over here? And this is blacks and Asians and Hispanics all saying the same thing. They're like, why are you spending all this money on illegal immigrants? And I can't even take my kid to the park anymore because it's filled with people drugged out on fentanyl, and you're telling me I'm a bigot for noticing. This wasn't an ideological repudiation. This was everyone just saying, okay, this doesn't work and we're tired of it. So where they went wrong is they bought into an ideology instead of actually just listening to practicalities. Like go back and listen to Bill Clinton in the 90s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was a very practical politician. He was the one he said the era of big government is over. He took illegal immigration as a serious matter. Everyone's going to sit here and scream about how far right Trump is. Trump is at best a moderate, and he was and I'm talking about a moderate from like the 90s.
Yeah,
he's not right.
He's always been kind of in the middle. Like, remember, he used to be a Democrat for the longest.
He's just been embraced by the right. It's not necessarily, and he just used it to his advantage. I fully see that.
Well, so here's the thing: is there used to be a breed of Democrat. There didn't used to be the same necessarily ideological striations in our politics. 40 years ago, let's say. That's why you could have blue dog Democrats, right? They were socially conservative. They had some liberal leanings, but they were also fiscally conservative, right? Yeah. They believed in things that there was a lot of overlap. Venn diagrams, right?
Yeah.
There were a lot more overlaps, but over the last 40 years, the left has pushed so hard to the left that it dragged everything over here. In the last 16 years,
It pushed all the moderates to the right. That's what they did.
Yeah. Well, they're just right by comparison at this point.
Yeah.
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 They're so far off the path. In the last 4 years, they just jacked that horse cart that they, up with testosterone. Was like, you drive as fast as possible, and they're just so far off the map. The Overton window can't even move that far anymore. Think about this. If you were to travel back in time to 2004, so 20 years ago, and you said that the Democrat Party would officially endorse taking children away from their parents because a school teacher said they believed that they were the wrong gender and they should have chemical and surgical alterations made to their body, and so they took the kid away from the parents, you'd think you were listening to some kind of insane man.
Yeah.
And that's legal in California right now. This is how far gone they were. Again, at best, Trump there's only a few situations that he's actually more conservative than Bill Clinton from the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. He's not a conservative. That's how far. In fact, someone said, I saw someone was posting like, we need someone like a Joe Rogan on our side or this. And they said, or a Tim Pool. And Tim Pool's response was, you had me. Tim Pool was a Democrat. RFK was a Democrat.
Joe Rogan was a Democrat for the longest time.
Was a Democrat.
Sure was.
Yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard was a Democrat. She ran in the presidential primaries for the Democrat Party 4 years ago.
Yep, sure did.
Dude, Rogan was an Obama supporter, man.
Yes,
he was.
Yeah.
My friend of mine, I'll just keep but good friend of mine. He was in Texas. He didn't just vote for Obama twice. He worked in the primary as one of the, I forget how the Democrats do it. It's a little different from just voting. They do the caucus. So he caucused for Obama.
Okay.
And he's in many ways to the right of me in a lot of things, because of where he's at. He's like, this has gone insane. He's like, what's going on? And he kept calling me. He's like, why are they doing this? What's happening? I'm like, this is what's going on. A lot of people who used to be Democrats left because they don't like what it became. Because they listened to these, really what it is the wokeness is best defined as neo-Marxist agitprop. That's all it is. This is a form of neo-Marxism. The only goal is to destroy normality so that they can impose a true Marxist regime. That's the entire, people talk about critical race theory. Critical theory is neo-Marxism. That's what it comes out of. Deconstruction. That's Marxist. That's a Marxist literature.
Woke is just cultural Marxism. That's all it is.
All it
is. All it is.
We're seeing struggle sessions when you have people who escaped China during Mao's great. They're saying this is what we went through.
Communism is the very synonym of equity.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's where it comes out of. Equity comes out of communist rhetoric.
Yeah.
So where did the Democrats go wrong? They bought into the ideology instead of the practicalities of listening to people. Anytime someone said, you heard someone say he's a threat to democracy, please understand they meant their oligarchy. That's all this was. I don't love Donald Trump. He's a moderate at best. I've said this 100 times. He's not what I wanted, but he may be what we need. Because the one thing he isn't is on as a part of this system, right? He caused his first term caused the entire system to move. That's why there's a lot of people who were Republicans. Dick Cheney supported Kamala Harris. I remember listening when they announced that, and they were talking about, look at how, isn't it wonderful that Dick Cheney's supporting Kamala Harris?
Oh, Dick Cheney turned around.
Yeah, and I'm like,
he used to be such an asshole, but now he's a supporter of women.
Like, hold on, you called this guy Darth Vader like 12 years ago. You said he was a war criminal. Why are you screaming in joy about his endorsement? Because that's the point. there were so many people who claimed to be on the right who weren't. They were simply, they may have been more socially conservative. Maybe they don't like the trans stuff. That's not what they're about. But what they are is a part of the system. They're part of that economic system that gets their money from the government, right? The largesse of the government. There's Donny, you and I have talked about this ad nauseum on your channel. There's two economies. There's the government economy, then there's the real economy. Trump's from the real economy. That's it. And he's like, well, why don't we just do things? I'm not saying every idea he has is right or whatever, but the simple fact of the matter is he's not from that side of the tent. And that's what bothers them, because so much of this, if we knew how much money is being spent and it's exclusively graft, how many trillions of dollars are being mismanaged, and it's all they can just extract out of us, that we are essentially, if people understood for 1 minute that we are wage slaves because of the spending of government, there would be pitchforks and torches in the Capitol immediately. Every major politician would be hanged by millions upon millions upon millions of Americans of all stripes, all creeds, all religions, all races, because we have been sold. I was on a mutual friend's channel a while back, and I mentioned how much in debt we are. And these are people who are not political. They don't know that we're basically $40 trillion in debt. And they're like, what do you mean we're 40 trillion? I'm like, the GDP of planet Earth is $90 trillion. We are in debt 40 trillion. That's how bad this is. This is why everything is stupidly expensive. This is why nobody has jobs. Our economy, 100 years from now, people are going to call this the Second Great Depression. The reason it doesn't look like that is because we've massaged the numbers harder than one of these Asian massage parlors off of Harry Hines.
See what I mean? He gets to make all these Asian jokes ever since that Orange Ogre won. It's just free reign on us minorities, Jason.
But I'm the only one that gets that joke, because I'm the only one that knows where Harry Hines is at.
Yeah. Randy's the only one who knows what I'm talking about.
Jason, can I ask you a question?
Sure, why not?
Why do you hate women? You know my mom's a woman. Do you hate my mom?
I would never hate your mom.
Why do you hate things with vaginas, Jason?
Well, first of all, they are smelly. People come from them, and I hate people.
And they look weird. They look like weird, they look like hamburgers.
Yeah. Yes, but at one time you tried to get back into it a lot, didn't you?
So what's this tried?
Oh, I've never been more happy to see a hamburger in my life.
You mean the old roast beef curtains?
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, here's the thing, right? Thank you for saying that, because that's the argument that's given. It's, well, why? It's, hey, we're seeing this problem A, B, C, D, X, whatever it is, and the answer is, why do you hate women? I didn't say anything about women. I said, why do we have this problem over here? Or, I don't like this policy. Well, you hate black people. What are you talking about? What does this have to do with us sending trillions of dollars in oversight? This goes back to the point of the reason they adopted the wokeness, the neo-Marxist agitprop, is because it allowed them. This is the most visceral truth I can tell you. Again, going back to the whole point that the vast majority of humans don't think about. They don't have an ideology that they live by. People say, "Oh, I've got a code." No, you don't. You react and you abide by social pressures. That is the vast majority of humans. Most people do not like being yelled at, and they don't like being told that they hate somebody, or, again, because that's a violation of a social norm, right? What is the worst thing you can be in this country right now? A racist, a misogynist, whatever, right? You don't. Well, you're like, but I love.
Here's the other thing, though. Here's the other thing. When you get accused of hating something that you don't actually hate, That just makes the person accusing you have less credibility in your eyes,
Well, so hold on.
right? Because
If
you're
you
like, well,
thought
I
about it, that
honestly
would be
don't
true.
hate black people, and you're screaming in my face that I hate black people. So you're an idiot.
That's what's happened. So
Yeah.
that's the end result. But the problem is, it takes time for people to adapt, because, like, if we were just standing on the sidewalk somewhere and Randy came up and started yelling at us, we would assume we had done something wrong, right?
Well, most
Because
likely
that's
you did if I did that.
well, no, because you must be this
You're
tall
wrong.
for me to care.
You're wrong.
But if Randy were to come, okay, someone other than Randy, let's say Tex.
Okay.
If we were just standing in Tex ran up, we would assume we had done something wrong.
Whoa! Time out again.
Yes.
Tex, run up. Come on.
Okay. If we were on the side of the road and Tex waddled at us aggressively and started yelling.
Can I tell you guys? Can I tell
go with
a real quick work story that kind of illustrates a bit of Jason's point?
Sure.
So, as you guys know, I work in auto insurance, right?
Yes.
So, I take a call from this one customer, this African American lady, who's in urban Philadelphia,
Okay.
right? She calls in. Well, it starts off polite. But she's like, I would like to know why my premium is suddenly higher. So I look over her insurance policy and I noticed that she had moved. So I'm like, oh, okay. So it's because you moved. And she's like, what do you mean because I moved? Right. And then I'm explaining to her, well, because this particular area, there's going to be a higher premium.
Yeah.
And then she went off into this whole thing where, like, oh, you're just trying to punish us black people because I moved to a more black neighborhood. You're just against us black people. And I'm at this point, I'm like, okay, first of all, that's unprofessional and not true. And then she was like, oh, and let me explain to you why. So I explained to her how, like, insurance premiums are calculated and how, like, there's higher risk factors. Like, certain areas have a higher number of traffic accidents than others do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, do you get the math here? You get it? And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. But at first I was, she was just coming after me like we're all against the black people, trying to hold them down, punish them for, and I'm like, fuck out of here with that bullshit. Okay.
But you put on your customer service.
Yeah,
hat,
I'm like, you sound like a fucking moron. I didn't say that verbatim, but the way I responded, she immediately shut the fuck up, because I was like, first of all, that's not accurate and unprofessional. As soon as I said that, she was like, oh.
Yeah, but it's because, and I've got a follow-up story, which proves my point. It's very similar to yours. A couple of jobs ago, I was managing a group, and they moved this guy who from one department to another, and so now he was under me, and I had to approve his time cards. And I was like, hey, I'm seeing some inconsistencies here. And so we started and we looked, because he was coming in on Saturdays and working like 5-8 hours. I'm like, this feels weird. And I talked to someone like, hey, was he here the whole time? And so we did some, I had IT look, and basically he was just logging in, leaving, and then coming back and then hitting a button to clock out on Saturdays when nobody was here. And one of the things was, I was there that Saturday. I'm like, I didn't see him here at all. Like, what's going on? And of course, we find out, we do some backtracking. We find out that at least he'd been doing it for at least a couple of months, and that he had stolen somewhere between $10,000 to $15,000 in payroll by doing that. So instead of calling the cops and pressing charges, we just fire him. And of course, as I'm escorting, was like, this is bullshit. This is because they just can't have a black man do well. This is all this is about. It's because I'm black. 30 minutes he's ranting about his race, and I'm sitting here the entire time thinking, you stole what we could prove was somewhere between $10,000 and $12,000. We suspected another $3,000, but we couldn't. But we'd lost some information on that, so we couldn't hold that. It's like, but we know for a fact this right here was absolutely stolen. You're lucky we didn't call the cops, that we didn't press charges, because this is high enough to, this is grand theft larceny. You could do time for this. And instead, we're just firing you. But everything was about his race, because and this goes back to my point. Human beings, when someone's yelling at you, you assume you've done something wrong. The reason they adopted the neo-Marxist agitprop is because, again, many of them are legitimately communists. They are commies. They agree with it. However, it became useful for a lot of people because because they saw the power of being able to just yell at people, and then everyone's like, okay, I guess I'm wrong. That's why they were able to get away with it for so long under Obama. Trump comes in, they hit real hard, and they start pushing real hard on this. And then you have COVID, everyone gets locked down, and they push even harder after Biden's elected. And everyone broke, because finally it's like there was enough time for everyone to realize what was going on. And they're like, I don't care if you're yelling at me. I'm tired of this because I can't afford anything. I'm tired of seeing y'all are destroying our lives here. My kids can't even play at the freaking park, and you're spending my money everywhere but here. My life's getting worse. I don't care that you're yelling at me anymore. So again, why did they embrace the woke? Because again, many people who are higher up are legitimately communists, but because of the weapons that it brought to the table, it's easier to emotionally manipulate than to convince somebody of an argument. It just is, right? When we stop to think about most arguments,
I've had people try that shit with me at my job. It's fucking hilarious because I'm like, it's so obvious what they're doing too.
Yeah, it's like so you have to have obvious emotions to manipulate.
Yeah, I had this one dude, right, also of African American descent, who came in calling because he was complaining about, I forgot what it was. He was like pissed off about his bill. It wasn't even like that it went up. It was just like the way it was scheduled.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what he did was, I was like, sorry, man, that's just how the system is set up. I mean, your agent should have told you that. It's just the way it is. We can't make exceptions or anything. So he starts going off about how he's going to notify the commissioner. See, this guy knows the actual structure, the like government bureaucracy structure of how insurance companies are. He understands that the commissioner kind of oversees. There's a commissioner of insurance and everything. Yeah. But I see what this guy is doing. Clearly, he's trying to like intimidate some random customer service guy into getting his way. So my response was, oh, okay. So because you don't understand how your bills work, you're going to go notify the commissioner. Is that what you're going to do? You're going to stick your lawyer? Because he was like threatening to get his lawyer to contact the commissioner. And I'm like, this motherfucker can't even pay his bills. He's got the money to pay for a fucking lawyer to contact the commissioner. Get the fuck out of here, right? So I say to him, so I'm like, oh, so because you don't understand your bills, you're going to have your lawyer contact the commissioner, really? And he's like, yeah, so you better do what and I'm just like, good luck. Good luck with that, sir.
Bye-bye.
And then he keeps going, and then he's continuing to yelling. And every response, every question, every sentence is just, good luck, sir.
Yeah, good luck.
I just say it like that. And then eventually he's like, oh shit, this motherfucker's not even a little bit scared.
Yeah.
And then you know what I did? I actually said, here, stop making a fucking fool of yourself and let me actually help you. And then I gave him some actual advice that was actually useful for him. And he was like, oh, that's actually useful. And I'm like, yeah, so
bye. He does that.
Shut up and listen. Imagine what happens, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you should have channeled your inner Ann Robinson and gone, you are the weakest link.
I was like, get the fuck out of here with that. trying to pull that fucking lawyer commissioner talk. I mean, motherfucker can't even pay his fucking car insurance bill. Fuck out of here.
Exactly.
Yep. But yeah,
anyway.
That's where, again, going back to the original question, where they go wrong. They went wrong because they bought into an ideology that was designed to be driven by emotion and not actually listen to the people. That's why this is not an ideological uprising. It's a populist uprising because people are just tired of the way things are going. That's it. That's all this is. If, like, I saw a post that said, God, grant me half the Trump that liberals think he is. Because it's like, I'd love it if he would actually be conservative, but he's not. He's just at best on most of these policies. He's taking us back to where we were in the 90s. Like that's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's about practicalities. And most people just want, like most people don't care.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care what it is because they're not ideological. They're not ideologically driven. They just want things to work. The problem is some things may be too broken to fix, to be honest. Like I would like to think, because again, there's some indication that everyone's like, oh crap, someone who's actually competent is coming back on the world stage. We may not necessarily have World War III yet. However, the problem is that what's gone on in Ukraine for the last 4 years, which by the way, yes, and this is not an accusation, this is a fact. The Biden administration deliberately continued during that first year. Zelensky wanted to talk and negotiate with Putin to end the war. First year, we prevented that from happening. So the simple fact of the matter is, it may be too far gone for Trump for anyone to fix that situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible that if he's like, "Hey, we're not, we're going to stop funding this war machine," that may be enough to stop it because we've been artificially propping up the conflict to begin with. But that may just be too far down the line to fix. At some point, Putin may just say, "Screw it, I'm done. We're going to start World War III."
Okay, well, Jason, let me ask you this question.
Options.
Okay, this is a more serious question then.
Yep.
What do you think? What do you think Trump does with the whole Israel situation?
Well, again, it goes back to so here's the thing that no one really wants to say, though it's perfectly obvious. Hezbollah and Hamas are both just Iranian proxies. That's all they are.
I mean, everyone knows that, yeah.
Well, we'd like to think
Terrorist
everyone knows that,
Yeah.
but
The terrorist groups, period.
yeah, they're terrorist groups that were created by Iran as proxies. That's why they exist. That's it. They're not.
I mean, strategically, it makes sense to have like a foreign terrorist group act as a proxy. If you're Iran,
well, heck, we kind of do that.
You can't fault them
they're
for
not
that.
even foreign. I would suggest that the majority.
I mean, foreign in the sense that they're operating on a foreign soil.
Yeah, I would bet money that the vast majority of them are of Iranian heritage and descent, because I bet that they've been brought in for the ones that aren't there any longer, thanks to the raids and such.
Yeah.
Well, punished somehow.
Most people who call themselves Palestinian, and it's not even a real thing, but most people who call themselves Palestinians are actually Egyptian or Saudi Arabian. Exactly. And they'll even say, like, that chant that everyone likes to say, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free." It's like, do you actually think that's what that's how that all rhymes in Arabic? Because it doesn't. You know what the chant is in Arabic? From the river to the sea, Palestine will be Arab. That's the chant in Arabic. That having been said, I do agree with Randy. I think there's a lot more Iranians in there, but the simple fact of the matter is they're proxies for Iran. We shut off Iran's money because we have to remember what's the first thing that the Biden administration did when they got in. They gave them a massive influx of cash, and they removed all of the sanctions so that they could pump in all this cash to supply their weaponry and send money overseas. Contrary to popular belief, although people are seeing it now, it's when you get up high enough, there is no left or right. There is no Republican or Democrat. There's just part of the system. And again, being part of that government economy, right? Nothing is more profitable than war. And that's there. And that is legitimately what a lot of people are far more afraid of with Trump, is that he'll find something equally as profitable as war. And then there will be less incentive for us to start these little minor wars that cost a lot of money and take off minimal lives, right? There was a line, I forget what the name of the movie was. I think it had Matt Damon in it, but it was about the founding of the CIA. And there's a scene where the guy turns to him and says, "I'm terrified of you. You start wars." And he looks at him and says, "We only start little ones." The post World War II, the idea was to sort of manage. This has been you try and manage the wars, right? Instead of having one really big war, you have a lot of little wars here and there. That was the idea during the Cold War, and it's continued. What we realized is, well, hold on. If we have a war where there's a lot of missiles that have to be fired, and we get to send a lot of trucks over places and military aircraft, that's a lot of money, but it's not a really big war. But there's a lot of money involved in it. Plus, when we build a missile, it has a shelf life. Randy can tell you. Most military hardware has a shelf life.
Sure does.
Which is why we send them our old stuff so we can buy new stuff.
Or build new stuff.
Build new stuff, yeah. So again, a lot of that money that went overseas actually went to us. So we could build missiles and mortars and all these things, right?
Well,
although trust me, tons of money went overseas and it got stolen as well. But Randy, please.
Yeah. Oh no, what I was saying was to go along with your point, and I hate to say that I'm actually agreeing with Jason on anything, but you're right. I mean, that's exactly like all these packages they send between Israel and Ukraine and such. That's the crap we're getting ready to phase out anyway. You know, like when we sent the Patriot missiles to Israel to help with incoming missiles and such. We sent those there, but they were the old ones, and we've already got.
It's kind of funny though about how our obsolete crap is still like light years ahead of the Russian shit.
Oh,
it's kind of hilarious.
Look at it this way. I mean, let's take the F-16 fighter of all things. We're up to the F-35 now, mind you. The F-16 fighter is still probably, to me, the most dangerous aircraft in the world because 100%. It's so maneuverable, it's so fast, and it can outmaneuver all these others combined. It could dang near outmaneuver the actual missiles, the heat seekers that are coming after it. I would wager that 90% of them they could, if it's with the right pilot.
Yes. No, so Randy, again, this is a Randy love fest at the moment. He is correct. Most of our technology is so advanced. People talk about near peer technology. There is no one who's near peer to us. No. Nobody. There is no military on the planet that could come close to testing us. However, what we do is with we see this in Ukraine and we see it in Israel. What do? We give them just enough, and we have all these conditions on them that it allows them to spend a lot of money and fire a lot of missiles in just the right places so as not to actually end the conflict.
Yeah.
The highest,
is what, quite frankly, that's what Netanyahu wants to do. He wants to wipe it all out. If he gets his, he'll wipe it all out. There ain't gonna be no more war there. He'll be running everything.
Yeah, which would be best. They're an actual democratically elected government. People forget what the Middle East really is. Most of these are theocracies. These are brutal theocracies.
Almost all of them. Yeah, almost all of them.
Almost all of them. I think you could argue that Jordan and Saudi Arabia are not technically theocracies, but I think you're splitting hairs to make that point.
They're monarchies.
They're monarchies, and these are not these people are not our friends. None of these people, it's like Israel is a Western style political system. They have the basic idea of human rights is present there, which is why they haven't just leveled Gaza and turned it into a parking lot, because they don't want to hurt innocent people. No one has done more to limit the number of civilian casualties than Israel. No military on earth will do what they do to try to avoid casualties. But
I agree.
That having been said, we make certain that they can spend a lot of money firing missiles, but not end the war, not actually end the real problem. The problem's Iran. All you got to do is cut Iran's money off, which is why Biden and them, they made certain Iran had enough money to launch these attacks and pay for them so that we can in turn send money and stuff to Israel so that it's like, oh no, we don't want you dead. We just want you not winning the war. Same thing with Ukraine. We have spent more money in funds and all that, and again, military arsenal and all that has gone into Ukraine than all of Russia's military budget on a yearly basis.
Oh, I believe it.
We have overspent Russia, and Russia isn't even throwing everything they have. It's not like this is eating up the bulk of their military assets. It's eating up a lot of their assets, but not enough of it. How in the world has Ukraine not won? Because we put limitations on what they could do.
Oh
Because
yeah,
we
like
don't-
using long range missiles and Russian borders and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah.
Correct. Because we don't want them to win. Now, you could argue that a lot of people are saying, well, what we really want them to do, and this is the geostrategic plan, is we turn Russia, we do what we did in Afghanistan with Ukraine. Essentially, it becomes their version of Vietnam. They spend so much time and money and military power trying to get something they're not going to get, that they are no longer a threat to us. That's sort of the public private facing idea. Truth is, it's a really great way for Boeing and Lockheed Martin, all these others, to make money. And of course, then the politicians make the money too.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
That's all this is about.
Mhm.
And so what could Trump do? If he cuts off Iran's cash, that war stops immediately. Because if you're, I hate to say this, but this is
what cash are we sending to Iran?
Well, so it's twofold. First of all, we dropped $10 billion on them.
When?
Well, actually, so we had the Obama thing where they delivered pallets of cash to them. That's photo. They said it was technically it was Iran's money that we had frozen from the 70s.
Yeah, and I didn't agree with that. I know which one you're talking about, but okay, that's 8, 9, 10 years ago or whatever. Okay,
right. But then now the same thing happened again when Biden came in. They unfroze. It was like around $10 billion, and we send it to Qatar for them to hold in escrow. It's not supposed to be used for terrorist things.
Yeah,
but money's fungible, right? But then the
Yeah.
other thing that they did is they lifted the sanctions so that they could actually make money off of oil again. You sanction them hard, they run out of cash, that war stops immediately. Because, and this is I hate to say this because this sounds remarkably cynical, but it is the truth. It's hard. It's going to be a Palestinian mother is not going to send their 12-year-old to blow themselves up if they're not getting paid to do it. Palestinian martyrs, their families get cash when they blow themselves up. That's a fact. That's why it's insane to think that there are people who would be like, yes, please, my 12-year-old son, go become a martyr, and I get money for it. But if you cut that funds off, they're gonna find something else for their 12-year-old to do.
I believe that to a certain extent. Now you got to remember, I've been in that warfare over there a few times.
Yep.
I tend to agree with you to a certain extent on that, depending on who it is.
Yep.
But the vast majority of the kids and the men, young men, I should say, that were in that situation as suicide bombers, they didn't want to be there. They had something held over them, i.e., their family was being threatened and being held. Because I hate to tell you, and people are going to get mad at me. I don't care though. This is just straight and honest truth. A shithead's a shithead's a shithead. Okay.
Yep.
And in our estimation, we all look alike type thing. Well, quite frankly, when you're in that situation over there, you had to all look alike because I didn't know which one of you was carrying a suicide vest or not.
Yep.
So what do you expect me to do? Put everybody in my column in jeopardy so I can make sure you're taken care of? No. If you come to war my column after I warn you back and you continue to come, you are getting dropped. Period.
Yep.
No ifs, ands, or buts. And that's the way a lot of us saw it. But there was people at that time saying, well, you got to take care. We did. We warned them. We make sure they're known. They get warnings. We even fire shots into the air to make sure they know. If they don't veer in any way, shape, or form, they only get one warning shot, and that's it. After that, they're done.
Yep. And that's so, yes, to Randy's point, there's more than one reason. However, particularly, I'm talking specifically about Palestinians.
Yeah.
The money's a big part because again, you have to remember, Iran is making certain that that these people stay artificially poor. Gaza should be a vacation spot that is full of billions of dollars of tourist funds. The Gaza area is a beautiful location that they've destroyed. They deliberately destroyed.
Yeah.
And
that
so
entire area, quite frankly, the entire area, because Sinai Peninsula, that the multinational force of observers that I've been there too. Herb's Beach. I'll remember Herb's Beach till the day I die. Is one of the most beautiful places in the world. The water there is just unreal. But because of the Camp David Accords between Israel and Egypt, it has to be maintained.
Yep.
Which every so often you get. I mean, we were there with Fijians when we were there, you know. So I mean, a lot of countries partake of it. But that entire area, once you get out of the way, you see it in Iraq too, especially when you go up north to Mosul and several other places. These are oases. I mean, they're beautiful areas at spots that have just been literally destroyed because you got
turned into war zones. Yep.
Yeah, you got some shithead that thinks he needs to be in charge.
Yep.
So,
and that's so again. So going back to the question of can he prevent World War III? I don't know, because I think there is a point where I think there's some things he can do. The problem is there's a saying from my favorite saying from Babylon 5 is the avalanche has started. It's too late for the pebbles to vote about it.
Yeah. Yep.
Unfortunately, you can push people too far, and where it's like, well, fine, I don't have a reason to talk to you anymore. And here's the other problem. We had the Abraham Accords under Trump.
Yep.
He walked across the Korean demilitarized zone to actually walk into North Korea, which is one of those things that, again, people who are nonpartisan just say that's one of the bravest things any American president's ever done. The simple fact of the matter is he was working with Russia, but he did it because, remember, he's the first president post collapse of the Soviet Union to kill Russians.
Yeah.
Because he literally walked up and told Putin, if you start shit, I'm gonna bomb you.
Yeah.
Not your army.
I'm
gonna bomb you. See, here's the thing. Most of these people, most of these big despots around the world, they are like Iran. They're real happy to send a child to die. They don't, they'll send
shit to do it themselves.
Exactly. They're like, please go be a martyr for Allah. You Sheik, you wanna go carry a vest into battle? Nope, that is for the children. He knew how to actually negotiate with these people, because he's like, look, I just want people to stop dying. How about we come to an equitable agreement? Now you can say that maybe there isn't an equitable agreement in all cases. I believe that, right? Peace at all costs is not peace.
No, but
there's a difference between negotiating an actual workable peace where people are at least not shooting each other and there's stability so there can be prosperity, and deliberately creating smaller conflicts that kill 100,000+ people, but you keep it running for no practical reason except the fact that you want to replenish your weaponry and you want to make certain that Boeing and Lockheed still send money your way through lobbyists.
Actually, I would say Trump is probably the most likely to at least broker a deal to stop the Ukraine-Russia war. Yeah. Like, he might be the one to actually get them to sit down and talk.
And I don't think there's ever going to be a World War III again. I really don't. And the main reason being is because I don't know if the populace of the world has a stomach for it anymore.
I would like to agree with Randy. So let me say this. I agree with Randy in the idea that World War III will not look like World War II.
No, not even close.
Right.
Actually,
I would agree with Randy in that. But
in my opinion,
yes.
wait. Oh, no, wait. No. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, so I agree. So here's the problem. We always assume the next thing looks like the old thing.
Yep.
World War III would not look like World War II. 100 years from now, they may say that we've been in World War III for a long time.
Yeah, very well could.
Because if you look at the total number of conflicts around the world that we're ultimately involved in, either through money and supplies or direct action, this is World War III. It just doesn't look like it. The problem is most things don't look the way you expect them to look, right? No. Our next civil war is not going to look like the one from the 1860s, right? Most revolutions don't look the way you think. Like the worst part of some big civil war is we're all still going to have to go to our jobs.
Yeah,
like that's honestly the worst part of it,
and we'll keep doing it.
Yeah,
because it'll be going on all around us, and we'll be like, nope.
My argument is that we're in the middle of a civil war right now. It's not fought with bullets; it's fought with like jabs on social media.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is fifth generation. This is a fifth gen. We are, and it's not just a civil war. It is, and again, this is why I think people will call this a they may call this World War III 100 years from now, is we are living in a 5th and 6th generational warfare, where warfare is done through ideologies and psychological warfare through these damn things.
Yep.
Also, it's in our food. It's economics.
Yeah.
And AI.
Like this is AI. Yeah, it's all
and bots.
Yeah. Why do you think? Remember when? Which is why, again, this is why Elon Musk buying Twitter was such a big deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
People don't understand. Like when he started going through the process, the reason there was such massive movement, hundreds of thousands of followers leaving accounts while other accounts blew up overnight, seemingly, was because Twitter was being manipulated by the government, but also by other governments around the world through bots, right? And this is not a question. Again, this is not theory.
No, that's fact. That's already been proved fact.
Yeah, that's been proven fact. The United States government was using directly X, but then other nations were using that as well. So again, going back to the woke mind virus that Donnie was talking about with Concord, how does that get pushed? People think Twitter's real life, and it's not.
No,
most
you need to look at it like a wrestling program.
Yeah,
how's that?
But it's a wrestling program used to engineer societies.
They would use like these fucking beach ball social issues to tug on people's heartstrings, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, okay, for example, the whole LGBTQ gay thing. Okay. I remember for most of my adult life, like my 20s and 30s, I was Democrat. I was like more of a middle Democrat, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And for the most part, like, because I saw how gay people were getting fucked over, right? They were being made fun of, openly mocked, and sometimes harassed, and sometimes straight up attacked. And, they weren't allowed certain aspects of our society that normal folk get to enjoy. I felt bad for them. And when people were passing legislations against them, I was like, that's kind of shitty, right? Gay people should get married. Why not? If you got two gay people who love each other, yeah, they should totally get married, right? They should, especially if they're living that lifestyle, fine. I've always had that mindset, right?
Yeah, they should be able to lose half their crap too.
Yeah, that's what I say. They should be able to get married, but they also go through the shittiness of divorce. Right,
exactly.
And child support, and
they need the whole. They need the whole.
Oh, you want marriage? Experience. Here it is.
We'll come back to that to the point of child support, but continue.
For the most part, I've always had gay friends, right? So when I talk about this woke bullshit, I'm not talking about, again, because people want to lump that together, right? If you talk anything out against woke, you're a homophobe. You hate gay people, right? So. I mean, legitimately, there were times when I was legitimately like, oh man, this one gay friend I have is not talking to me anymore. Is it because of all the anti-woke podcasts I've done? Right? I've actually thought that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I think about it and I realize, oh, you know what it is? It's the whole story of the underdog finally getting a seat at the table and completely abusing their power. It's like a poor person winning the lottery and then they blow it in like a month.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Force it on people.
They're the people who've been, on the bottom rung. They've been downtrodden, right? Finally, they're with this political party that puts them at the head of the table now. Now they're making all these major decisions about our culture and about our entertainment, right? But then what do? They abuse that shit, baby. Just like any underdog who suddenly gets power does. Exactly. They abuse that shit.
Well,
they still are
too. Yeah.
My criticism isn't against gay people inherently. It's the gay
agenda
group that suddenly got power because of this woke agenda, and then they just fucking pissed all over the place, and they just fucking alienated people who are like completely neutral.
Yeah. Well, so to that point, the group that's actually running the gay agenda, they are not even gay. Again, this goes back to they're communists. They're just the LGBTQ thing is just the newest tool. And by the way, why do you think they threw the T on there? In fact, if anything, if you're gay, the trans movement in many ways completely undermines your entire point.
It does. I knew gay guys who were very like Not very cool with trans people because it kind of flew in the face of everything they were about.
The classic gays hated bisexuals. They're like, crap or get off the pot, man.
Yeah.
Right.
All of my
can't
gay
be
friends, they make fun of bisexuals all the time.
Yeah. Because again, in many ways, it undermines their entire argument for their lifestyle. The simple fact of the matter is none of this is none of this is actually what it's supposed to be about. It's simply the fig leaf for destroying the cultural norms. Because what is it that communists hate? They hate the family. They hate religion. They hate the reason they hate the family is because it provides structure outside of the government. Why do they hate religion? Because communism is a religion. There can be nothing higher than the state. The trans agenda, the entire concept of the trans agenda is explicitly religious. It relies on the idea of dualism. But they don't care about these people. What they care about is power. If they can destroy enough institutions, literally, it's Cloward and Piven, right? This is just these are multifacets to Cloward and Piven. They were a married couple from the 60s. They had this idea that, hey, if America's middle class was too strong to collapse, or for America to collapse, so there's never going to be a workers' revolution, was their thought. So in order to create one, what you have to do is you overload the system. You have too many people, the system collapses, then you get your glorious revolution. That's what all of this is. This is what we are seeing is Cloward and Piven enacted over the last really 12 years. It started under Obama, but really it had been going before that, but it started really happening under Obama. Biden just said, screw it, pedal to the metal. None of this incremental stuff. Because here's the thing. Hillary was supposed to win, and so all this stuff was supposed to happen just slowly. Trump made his presidency made them speed a lot of this up. Again, the entire system moved, which is why a lot of people who are traditionally considered Republicans and even conservatives, they've been ousted. People look at them for what they are, rhinos, because they were part of the system.
Yeah.
They're really, again, they may be socially conservative to a point, but they're still totalitarians. They want the government to have all power.
Over the years, I've seen so many people go from the left to the right, but I've seen very few examples of people going from the right to the left.
The few cases,
very few examples.
And the few examples that you see of that, again, are usually very high up politically, and really they're not moving. That's the thing, is they never really moved. They were always
around them. They were in the same spot. It just moved around them.
Yeah, the facade drifted away.
Yeah,
that's all it was.
I consider myself as someone who started more left and moved right.
Well, and people consider me, at one point, I was probably the most conservative you could ever find, because I was the biggest Reagan supporter back in the 80s you'd ever want to see. And even for George Bush Sr., but when Bill Clinton came in, originally I didn't vote for Bush the second time that time, or Clinton on their first one. I voted for Perot. I really did, because I thought we needed
I love me some Ross Perot. That dude was.
We needed a businessman up there to run that son of a gun, and that's what we kind of got with this one. But I argue with people to this day about his first term. I said, if he'd have come in and did what I thought he was going to do and run it like a business and do the right thing with it, instead of turning it into a freaking reality show.
Yeah.
Stay off of Twitter. Don't touch your phone.
Stay the fuck off Twitter, Trump. Come on, man. Stop embarrassing yourself on there.
I mean, honestly, if he'd have done that, I think he probably would.
Or at least have like a Twitter fucking manager, like have someone
Here's the thing though, and now I'm jumping to the, I shouldn't say the left wing, because this isn't left wing or right wing. This is just a common sense thing.
Trump does deserve his criticism. This is not an ass Trump.
No,
kiss Trump's ass session.
This is where I'm saying, because now you can sit there. I guarantee you, from here in Texas, I can hear the arguing and the fighting in Mar-a-Lago right now for people trying to get jobs in the administration.
Yep.
I guarantee that's what's happening right now.
People are trying to get jobs at the Trump. Yeah.
What kind of idiot? And I say this in the most loving of terms. What kind of idiot is going to put RFK's dumb butt up there in any kind of cabinet position at all?
So this is where I both agree and disagree with Randy, right? Because here's the thing, he's not wrong. Everyone wants a job. Because again, this is why you can't take anybody in politics that high up seriously.
Yeah.
In fact, this is my So everyone understands, because I'm actually working on something that will explain a lot of this very soon. However, my answer to all of this is, why does any politician in Washington have enough power for you to care that they're there?
Exactly.
That's my point. The problem with Trump, Trump is not, people have said this is not original to me. Trump is not was not the cause. People talk about, the American politique has died. Trump wasn't the cause. He was the mortician. Trump is a symptom. He's not the problem.
Maybe that's why he did the show with the
Right.
Undertaker, Randy. Remember you asked about that?
Yep.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
makes
still want
sense.
to sit down and listen to it because I hear it was actually pretty dang good.
Yeah, but so to Randy's point, he's not wrong. I'll let Randy finish.
No. I want to hear what you said, because we're agreeing on this, really, because this is one that we're both of the same. It doesn't matter who the president is. It doesn't matter, who's running what, because you've got three branches of government up there that if they don't work together, nothing happens. First of all, and no one person makes decisions.
Yeah. And this is, so I agree that, RFK is would not really be someone I would want up there. But
I don't think he'll do it. I think he'll make him an advisor of some sort.
An advisor or something. But here's my thing. And again, this is, when he was first elected, someone asked me at an office, like, what do you think about Trump? And I've said this 100 times. I'm like, if Donald Trump did only one thing, he'll go down as one of the best presidents we've ever had. And that was, he was such a disruptive force that people got to see the machine for what it was.
Exactly.
He did that. I have no problem with RFK and some of these other people being there because they're disruptive forces. If we can, again, that's what I'm very sincere about this. If people understood how screwed up this system is, how we're being exploited by the government, which is why we need to pull as much power from them and bring it back to our local. The mayor and your city council should be the most important politicians in your life, because they're close. And I mean this 100%. The people who have the most power should be close enough for you to shoot them.
And that scares the crap out of me where we're at in Texas right now. So,
well, and the simple fact of the matter is this: the closest politician, the ones you care about the most, should be your mayor and the people you can go and walk up and have breakfast with.
Yeah, exactly.
I literally know my my representative here in where I live. I know him personally. I
bet you the representative. I bet you that representative, every time he sees Jacob walking up, he's always like, "Oh, that fucking guy again." Hey, Jason.
Who's Jacob?
Yeah, who's Jacob? Who's Jacob? Donny.
Yeah.
You're that Jacob McDonald guy, right? Oh, hey, Jacob.
Yep,
yeah, exactly. And then Jason's walking up like, "Hey, long time no see, buddy."
He doesn't even realize he said it, does he?
Yeah, he doesn't. Anyway, but so again,
Jacob McDonald.
That's where I'm coming from. The problem, I don't, whether the president is a Doberman, it shouldn't matter, because he should be so powerless. The few things that he should do that he actually does should basically have very little to do with you. It needs to be mostly international and administrative, and that's it. The problem is we put so much power in Washington, D.C. that we have essentially voted ourselves into a very weird form of feudalism. This is what this is. This is we have. I forget who it was. It was one of these major banks. They basically, they do this rundown of and sort of their official reviews of countries. I think it was like 15 years ago. It's been a while. Yeah. But they flat out said America was it wasn't an oligarchy. It was a plutocracy, which is ruled by the wealthy. But again, here's the thing: the wealthy in this country are the ones who are connected to the government.
Pretty much.
So again, it's that government largesse, that government economy, and the protections that we give certain industries.
Oh wow! You mean it's like Rome all over again, Jason McLean? Jeez.
I wish it was Rome at this point. We blew Rome out of the water as far as corruption goes at this point. But that's
I don't know about all that. I ain't seen nobody stab anybody in the Senate yet.
No, actually, we are better at being corrupt. Like, we do it more efficiently.
That's what I'm saying.
Our corruption is way more efficient than the Roman.
And there have and hold on, Randy. You know good and darn well. There's been plenty of people who've had accidents, and you're like, it's weird that this guy's wife, her car auto drove her back into this pond and she was unable to get out. That feels weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Romans would just straight up walk up to like their person they want to off and hey,
Stab
everyone, let's stab that guy.
And by the way,
for the watch.
Yeah, for the watch. Yeah, exactly. And I do believe Kennedy was a thing.
Yeah.
And Nixon, the CI was all over that. That's a whole that's a whole episode into itself. And Reagan, he didn't die, but I'm just saying there's been plenty of it just isn't as direct as I'm gonna pull out a knife and give you a good old shanking. But we're
on
more
the Reagan
creative
one,
about it.
On the Reagan one, I could sit there and say, honestly, that dude that did that one, and I know there's conspiracy theories about that one all over the place, but that dude literally was completely and utterly off his complete rocker.
Oh yeah,
he still is, and they tried to get him out a year ago or 2 years ago. Said, "Oh
it was
he's
a couple years ago."
No, dude, no, not happening. You're not coming out of here ever again.
Yes.
Put your picture of Jodie Foster back in your wallet. You're not coming out. All right.
Yeah. Oh no, dude. Dude's a nutcase. That doesn't mean that he wasn't positioned there. Again, I tend to be more in the middle.
Somebody set him up in the right spot. Maybe. Yeah, that could have happened.
Jason, you know your presidential history a little better. Definitely better than I do. I will admit. So let me ask you a legitimate question. Okay.
Okay.
Of all the presidents who've had assassination attempts made on them, how many of them later on or then wound up losing their election afterwards?
So that's a really.
Has there ever been an assassination attempt on a president, and then let's say they're running for re-election that term, and then they lose?
Let's think about how many he's actually had an attempt. Reagan won.
Yeah. And really, again, the question is surviving, right? So it's Reagan,
Teddy Roosevelt,
and
that's
Ford.
Ford.
Ford had shots at him too.
Yeah. So Ford.
Because the rest of them, all of them were successful.
Wait, Ford was never, but then Ford was never reelected, right?
No, he was never elected. Period.
He was never even elected. Yeah, he was the he was the second vice president under Nixon after the CIA got rid of Spiro Agnew.
But then he didn't run for re-election afterwards.
He did, but he got beat by Carter.
Well, he
I guess so. Then then I guess he was the one that lost afterwards.
Yeah. He never was actually elected president.
I didn't know there was an assassination attempt on Ford. See,
yep.
A lady.
I knew about Roosevelt.
38 special to one of his things, and you could hear it pop off in the distance, and she never got to a point where she was an actual true threat to him. The Secret Service got her before she ever got there. So, but she was able to pop off a round or two. So it made it like, and I tell people now, the one that happened, that one at the golf course, that was somebody just being an idiot. But
I don't think that guy was close. But the other one, first one, was real close.
That first one, I'm telling you right now, and I tell people, I said, y'all are literally a quarter to a half inch away from watching somebody's head explode.
Yeah.
Yes.
Literally.
Yeah.
And I mean,
he turned. I'm right. No, Randy. Yeah, we're like if you watch, like they've done, again, AI is amazing when it's used appropriately. They mapped his head, and they're like, it's not just that he turned, he tilted at the same time.
Exactly.
If he had just turned his head, he's dead. And his head would have exploded on camera in front of everyone. I'm over here. I think that was an act of God. The second guy in Florida at the golf course, he's a really interesting case.
Yeah.
Because this goes back to the connections that he has that are definitely spooky. But the kid who actually took the shot, that's weird too.
I'm trying to bad Secret Service all the way around. Don't get me wrong. But I'm telling you right now, after that happened and they got him down, and then he lifts his head back out of everybody and starts pumping his fist.
That's when I knew he won the election.
Well, no, that wasn't for me. But my point was that even right then, every one of those Secret Service agents needed to be admonished right then. There's no way in hell he should have ever got his head back out there at all. All. His ass would have been carried off that. And let me get my shoes. No, bitch, we're gone. You're out of here right now. Whether you like it or not, you can fire.
It was really good for his public image that he did, though.
It was good, but I mean,
that was on magazine covers everywhere after that.
Too, just like everybody else nowadays. It doesn't matter what they do, they get turned into a meme. So,
Well,
Yeah.
but neither here nor there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's still the.
it shouldn't have happened.
I'm not talking. Yeah, it shouldn't
Yeah,
have
it
happened
shouldn't
at
have
all. I mean,
happened, but
Secret
Yeah,
Service blew that big time.
yeah.
So, and here's the other thing. And again, we can talk a lot about, their attempts to put him in jail.
Yeah.
That's another thing that has really backfired on them, is because people saw the machine. They're like, none of this makes sense. Like even the New York thing, right? Where they're like,
Yeah, that
well,
one
now
didn't.
he's a felon. It's like, well, hold on, but you can't even tell us what the crime he committed was. That's
It
the
was
whole
fraud.
point.
It was actually fraud, business
no.
fraud.
No.
Yes, it was.
Oh,
Because
let's not go.
That's what he
Oh,
was
let's not get into
convicted
weeds
on.
on that one. No.
Fraud.
I'm
Hold
gonna
on,
step
wait.
in. No.
Convicted on fraud.
No.
Period.
Wait, which one are you talking about? The financial fraud or the
I'm talking about the financial
NDA?
fraud. No, I'm talking about the financial fraud because of the quote unquote hush money payment thing.
Yeah,
Because of
so
how it was accounted, but it not say that it was a whatever, but the accounting of it is where they got it because they didn't do it
not
right.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's so. Here's the thing. First of all, an NDA is not fraudulent. But here's the thing. The way they were able to do it, and even CNN was like, guys, this is jacked up. They had what they said. In order to make this a thing, it had to be fraud in continuance of or perpetuation of another underlying crime. That was the argument that was made. They never in court, they never stated what that other crime was. In fact, the judge even said when the jury was going, they said, you don't even have to agree on what the underlying crime was. You just have to think that he committed one.
Yeah.
There's no way that one doesn't get overturned because everyone's like, this is the most insane thing ever. The judge wouldn't even allow testimony from the FEC.
Which one are you talking about?
See, thank you.
Don't wait, Randy, hold on. Don't worry. I
Yeah.
got this. Okay, I got this, bro. I got you.
Okay.
I will bring up some shit about Trump to make Jason uncomfortable. No.
Hold on, but that's my point.
It's time you face this question.
I will face the question, but give me 2 seconds. This is my point. Randy just made my point for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to know which one he's talking about.
He can't. I have actually given the insanity of the charge. This is the most recent one, which involved the NDA. They've brought so much against him that is fraudulent that we can't even keep track of the charges. That's the point. Everyone saw that. They saw the machine moving to go after him for things that they even said, yeah, these other people did it, but we're not going to go after them for it. All of these things.
What NDA?
Against it. Are you talking about the thing with Stormy Daniels? Yes or no? Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That was about the NDA. The NDA.
I didn't know she even had an NDA because the way I understood it, it was just money to keep her quiet. There was nothing actually physically signed.
No, that the entire point of it was they said that the money that went to her for the NDA that she signed as agreement with the NDA,
corporate and not accounted properly.
Yeah,
right. It was it was at best an accounting error that was at worst a finable civil
and that's
offense.
why I don't think he would have ever gotten any kind of jail time. I never thought he was going to get jail time for it at all.
Which is why they bootstrapped it. Right, that's what I'm saying is they bootstrapped it by saying it was about election interference, even though they wouldn't allow they would not allow testimony from the FCC saying that this was not a crime to begin with. But so again, that's what I'm saying.
The judge did say that. He said that this is not about anything election related. This is about where this money went. I remember him physically saying that in the courtroom.
Except that was the foundation for it being a federal crime, was that it had to further another crime. Because here's the problem: the New York district didn't have regulations over crimes of elections or anything. They don't have any say in that, which again goes back to they had to bootstrap the clerical, essentially, which was a clerical issue, into a federal crime by saying that it was in furtherance of a different federal crime, and which they never stated what that crime was in the instructions. They said,
now we're all in timeout again. Now I know you give me all these ramblings and legal mumbo jumbo, whatever. You still got 12 people who went into that room and took an hour to find guilty on all 35 counts.
If a black man in Alabama in 1955 is declared guilty, do you consider that correct? See, the simple fact of the matter is this: they were every person who's looked at this, and I mean, I'm talking about CNN lawyers have said this is insane.
Well, because they
found a jury. you can find a jury to convict anyone. So let's get back to Donnie's question or Donnie's point. I do actually have to go. I got things to do.
Not tonight. You don't. Wait a
Yes, I
second.
do.
No, all I was going to say was that actually I was going to address something, but you actually kind of went there anyway because I was about to bring up Stormy Daniels. But the one thing I did have to add about Stormy Daniels that I think is very important at this juncture in this show. You know, she was a guest on Space Out Radio.
Yeah.
You see that episode?
No, I didn't see the episode.
She seems like a cool lady. I think we could actually be friends with her.
You just want to be friends with her.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you just want to be friends.
Did you know? Well, I watched that episode. I don't know if you guys watched that episode, but I watched that episode.
Did not.
So, did you know this about her, Jason? She's she's a psychic medium.
Oh yeah,
she can see ghosts and shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, she's a psychic medium.
And she was on Space Out Radio. Guys, she runs in our same circles. I think we can actually befriend her, like actually befriend her.
Donnie, we can. I can't remember if she actually got her on the show or not, but I think Krista was talking to her for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think
Krista was actually talking to Stormy Daniels?
I might be wrong, but I think they got her on the show.
I need to ask Krista about this.
We need to bring the text up now.
We need to ask her. We need to see what's up. Dude,
Okay.
do you think we could actually get Stormy Daniels on the show?
But my problem is I don't know if it was necessarily Krista or if it was...
You know what I would ask her? I'd be like, so what does Donald Trump's dick look like?
She already described that in testimony. Okay?
No, but give me more details. I want to know all the details.
You know, if there's one consistent theme for Donnie, it's dicks.
It's the dick.
Okay, now that one we'll agree to disagree on the New York one because, like I said, once it goes to a
jury, what color are his pubes?
But now, and this comes from a guy that used to have a top secret compartmental clearance like I did.
Yeah.
If I would have had those level of documents that were found, that were not in a secured area, that were not, I'd be under a jail. I'd be under Leavenworth for the next 30 years. Okay. Now that don't just mean him. I mean, even I know the ones with Biden were the same way. I mean, but they weren't at the same level. And he's like, oh shit, here, come get them type thing.
He didn't do it. His lawyers did it, but it's only after they'd already been discovered.
Yeah. So, but they're still wanting the same amount, obviously.
They were found at 3 different locations, including his office at UPenn, which was paid for by the Chinese and had access, and the Chinese agents had access to it. That part I didn't hear,
so I would have to see that one in writing to know that one. So
yeah,
but neither here nor there. Both of them, I don't care. I said the same thing about Hillary with her email issue. Okay,
that she should have absolutely been tried for because that was very clearly she was clearly laundering information to foreign adversaries. Yes,
we're talking about secret avenues and classified information in any way, shape, or form that is not in the secured environment it's supposed to be. And I hate to tell you this: the president of the United States cannot just willy-nilly declassify a document. It don't work like that.
Continue. Or have you made your point?
I'm just saying it just don't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Classified documents have to go through certain levels before, even if he says, hey, I want to make this unclassified, it's still got to go through channels to get it done. Okay.
Yes. There are definitely procedures for that.
Okay. If it had been me as a sergeant first class in the United States Army, case in point, the WikiLeaks guy right now, not WikiLeaks, but the dude, the Air Force guy that put that crap out there is getting bombarded.
Yeah.
If it had been me and I accidentally now, no fault of my own, accidentally had it out of way from where it's not supposed to be and not in a non-secure environment, I'd have been under Fort Leavenworth or Fort Leavenworth in Kansas. I would have been through that day. I'd be on death row almost. I mean, because
depending on what it was,
no advantage, yes. You know, exactly. Anything top secret that had top secret on it, yeah, that's every single violation is a 12-year sentence.
I'll even give you a better one. There was a gentleman, he was a submariner, and he took a photograph in the submarine. It was a selfie.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And he put it out, and he was doing time because again, you can't have that out in the world. So
No.
here's where I'm not even pushing back. It's a point of clarification.
Yeah.
A lot of those, so it was under those documents were secured. They weren't secured the way you or I would want them secured.
Yes.
They weren't in a skiff. However, the vast majority of those documents were not classified, and a lot of those photographs that we have where everything's spread out and we see that
that's just they're going through it and stuff. I know
that was them, but a lot of those top secret folders were actually brought by the FBI to stage the photographs. Again, this is not an allegation. This is a claim made by the FBI.
Yeah.
So what
Quick question.
So okay, yes, Donnie.
Do you think Donald Trump might be circumcised or not circumcised?
Okay, we've gone off the rails again. We were trying to have an intelligent.
Yeah, we're having a real conversation here, Donald. So again, to sum up, a lot of there are documents that are top secret, but can be removed. The top secret thing can be removed later. I'm happy to let somebody adjudicate that. Right? I want that adjudicated. But here's my problem. He was president. They were under lock and key. Some of those documents that they found with Biden had when he was a senator. So he had absolutely no right to take them. A lot of them were also when he was vice president, and they were top secret. They were.
See, here's the thing that I have not seen those write-ups that you're talking about the Biden one. So,
but thank you for proving my point, right? And a lot of this, the point is, everyone saw how hard they went after Trump, but they literally would ignore the exact same things when it was Clinton in his sock drawer, when it was Obama with I think it was like 3 million. It's 3 million documents.
That's how bipartisan shit is, though, man.
Yeah.
You ignore your own side's flaws and
right.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I understand it happens with every president, every one of them, because quite frankly, none of them keep it right like they're supposed to anyway.
Yeah,
correct.
So when they go through and do the mass clean out at the end of the terms, they're just grabbing stuff.
Yeah,
I fully understand this. Okay, but how you react to the people, wanting to get them back or whatever the case might be, also lends a little bit. Hey, Biden, we're coming to get this stuff. Okay, hey, here we got it by accident or whatever. Here, you have at it. Go find it, do whatever, take it. We'll support you.
I know where hold on. I know where Randy's
coming. You know where I'm going.
I know where he's going. The problem is even that's been blown because Trump's attorneys were talking with because it's a Records Act violation that they were going after. Yeah. They were already talking to them. They were working on getting them the documents.
Okay.
But there were questions about duplications. They were already in talks. That's the whole point. The raid was not only not necessary, it was explicitly for show.
Oh, I believe it. Don't get me wrong. I fully understand.
Which is the point. No one's supposed to be above the law, but no one's supposed to be under the law. The problem is we have two different judicial systems, one for the people who are in the government economy, and those and those in the real economy.
Okay,
that's the
so
problem.
now I'm gonna put this point to you then on that one, what we're talking about right there. Okay. This happened after January 6th, right?
Yep.
What happened on January 6th to the police? What happened to those guys that were there protecting that Capitol? They got overrun and nobody did a damn thing about it, right?
Yeah, that was not the best look for Trump supporters that day.
Well, I want him to finish. I want Randy to finish this point.
I want to equate this to a local law enforcement officer level. You go out and you fight a cop and you get into a fight with a cop and you hurt a cop. Do you think you're going to go into that jailhouse unscathed?
No, you're not supposed to.
Exactly. Every other cop is going to take shots at you every time you walk past them. You're going in, you might as well be beat, whatever. It doesn't make no difference because you know what? You laid your hands on somebody, especially if you were to kill one. If you were to kill a cop, you might as well get ready because not only are you going to have an issue going into jail, those guards are going to be having a field day with you for a long, long time.
The only person who was killed was Ashley Babbitt. There were people who were injured or died from falling. She was the only one who was shot. No, there were no police officers who were killed at January 6th.
But they were attacked, right? And the reason she was shot is because she grabbed somebody's gun.
No, she didn't. She was shot through the window. She was climbing in. She was unarmed, and she was shot through a window.
And if you look at the guy, somebody was grabbing that hand that he had the gun out with.
Who had the gun out? No one was armed. None of the protesters were armed.
I'm going to tell you right now. What?
None of the protesters
Okay.
who went into the Capitol were armed.
Okay.
This is not.
This is over now. This is over now, right now, because I'm going to cry bullshit on that one right now. Because I can sit
Hold
there
on.
and
Who
I'm
was
gonna
who
take.
was killed? There were people who had tasers and bear spray. Like that was it. You're telling me
Okay, that's
that-
all fine and dandy.
so-
But the one that got killed, literally the guy pulled, and don't get me wrong, I don't know that he should have pulled it. I'm not saying he should have or not. I'm saying, but he did, and he was a police officer. And he was overrun right there, and he probably should not have pulled it out. She, as an Air Force, I think she was National Guard, if I'm not Air National Guard, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, she was Air National Guard. Yeah.
Okay. First of all, she's at a political rally, which is for expressly forbidden.
I don't know if she was still active duty, though. I don't know if she was still active duty.
They said she was. They
No,
said she
as
was Air National Guard.
someone who has no dog in the race, as someone who like personally identifies as neither left nor right, nor supporting one or the other.
Yeah.
Those people on fucking July or January that day, those fucking protesters, they're fucking morons.
Exactly.
So hold on. The ones who rioted completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No one's defended their actions.
No,
The
no,
problem-
no. I agree with you. You haven't said that they were right at all. I understand that.
And and here's the problem. There's two parts to that. There was the I believe it's the North Wing. That's where the riot happened. On the South Wing, where most people who actually made it into the Capitol came in, they were let in by the police. They were actually escorted in.
They
There were some that were let in.
And here's the other problem. There is again, the Capitol Police were not reinforced because of Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi had control over that. We tend to forget. Trump had offered
the mayor. The mayor could have too.
The mayor could have too. Trump offered the National Guard before because he's like, this is a big thing. We want to have as many people there.
Yep.
And they were they were turned down. It was very clear that there were not enough police officers there, and there are at least between what we know for a fact, and they've tried weaseling out through using weasel words under testimony, but there are anywhere from 50 to 200 either assets and or agents that were in the crowd on the North Field where the riot occurred. We also have the issue with the pipe bombs that everyone seems to keep forgetting about.
Yeah,
that were found at the Democratic and Republican councils. There is enough hinky with January 6th that it looks very much like this was that there were designs for promoted or for provoked actions. Not that everyone there is an agent, but you do have agent provocateurs. This is a known thing, and let's not forget the year before that.
How is it known? I need to see this stuff in writing because honestly, I haven't seen it.
That's okay, I'll have to send it to you. But there's a ton of research, but again, you're not going to hear that on CNN or NBC.
No,
because they don't want
it. What's written and where it came from. I really want to see it. That's just honest. I just want to know because I want to know where you're coming from with it because what I saw, and this is my side.
I understand. I understand.
As a retired member of the United States Army, when they got into that and started acting the way they acted, I'd have hosed them sons of bitches till they died.
Yeah.
They'd have been bloodshed on that carpet in that Capitol because I guarantee you get up there and you desecrate something that I put my money into and my life into, your ass is gone as far as I'm concerned.
And they should have brought in a bunch of dogs, man. That's what they should have done.
Nah, I wouldn't say that, but I can tell you right
scary ass dogs.
Like, well, as the Church of Dogmen, we would expect
scary ones.
Expect that. Yeah. But so but this is a great example of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Virtually the exact same thing happened like 8 months before in March with the riots where they burned down the National Church that's right across the street from there. This is when the Secret Service pushed Trump down into the bunker. Police were attacked. People were maimed, injured, property damage. None of those people, not one of those rioters, has had anything like what the Jan 6 people who were arrested have had to go through. In fact, they were even compensated by Washington, D.C. for a limitation on the rights, even though they actually maimed cops. They were far more violent acts. They destroyed lives. They did kill people. They burned down churches. They did assault the White House.
Yeah.
This all happened. they're not prosecuted, but every grandmother who happened to be within a 100-yard radius.
You said it happened about 8 months prior?
Yeah, it was during the summer of love.
Okay, so I'll have to find out on that one too, because once again, something I don't get any information on because it wasn't covered, like you're saying.
Oh, it was covered, but they were
okay, gentlemen.
One of those fiery but mostly peaceful protests.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. But
We've been
up there. That's never going to be freaking peaceful at all up there.
We've been going almost 2 hours now, so
yep,
it's only an hour.
Unfortunately, I do feel like it's time to get close to wrapping it up. However,
yeah, I got to go run errands. Actually,
I've got one last round of questions for the three of us, and we'll each take a turn. Okay.
All right, I'll be quiet now.
Starting with Jason, and then we'll go to Randy, and we'll go to me.
Okay.
You know, I would assume, right, that most of the people watching right now, like in the chats or live, or who would watch this later, the majority of them are Trump supporters, right?
Maybe.
So the majority, because you know, most of the people in these chat rooms for these paranormal Bigfoot shows, a lot of them are Trump supporters. Now,
majority can still be 51%. So
yeah, that's true.
for those who might be listening, who might be very anti-Trump, what are your words to anyone to those people in the audience who might be anti-Trump people, or who might be on the left, who might be listening? Do you have any words for them, Jason?
Actually, I'm going to bring it back to the theme of the show, which is the Schadenfreude, right? One of the reasons I really, really like the Schadenfreude that we're seeing right now is not necessarily because I like watching people freak out, or I really don't enjoy the suffering of my enemies or anything like that. It's because what I have found is that most people's lives, they don't really make changes until they hit rock bottom. A lot of these people are not, it's not that they're inherently evil. Some of them very much are, but it's not that the vast majority of them are not inherently evil. They've just been lied to, right? Remember, you asked what was the thing the Democrat Party missed? What when they started believing the ideology? These are people who live within the woke bubble. They believe everything that they are told. They genuinely believe that Trump is super Hitler.
Yeah.
They believe that he's going to descend at night and give them pregnancy tests and then drag them. Like, they believe all of it. I am hoping that in this conflict of emotions, that they're actually forced to just ask the question, okay, maybe this isn't what I think it is. I have a friend who literally, and I'm not kidding when I say this is why I do care. He drove himself insane during the first term. He kept talking about how Trump was going to put everyone in gulags. It was QAnon, but on the left, right? The dude had a wife that he loved, and then all of a sudden I watched him destroy his life with drugs and depression and paranoia because he believed everything that CNN said. He took it as gospel. The Schadenfreude, I feel, is, yes, there is that moment of let the salt flow, right? Just let it rain and enjoy the screaming. But
let me lick the salt of your tears.
Exactly. But but ultimately all pain should have a purpose. And I'm hoping that this is enough to wake people up to say, hold on, maybe I have been lied to about not just Trump, but about what the world actually is. So much of wokeism is about trying to redefine reality in a thing that it isn't. It's not. Trump is not really the thing that they're freaking out about. It is that there is a system of governance and a communist worldview that's trying to take control of all of us. Most of these people who are genuinely just freaking out, their minds are broken because of not just CNN and all that. It's this damn thing. It's this stupid thing right here. They don't live in anything that resembles reality. And I'm hoping that this is enough to get them to say, hold on, maybe this isn't maybe I'm wrong here, right? We are literally living that Simpsons meme where where Principal Skinner is like, maybe I'm wrong. No, it's the children. They're wrong, right?
Yeah.
We are living that meme right now. And here's the thing. I don't want one party rule. That's literally what communism is. That's a key element. What I want is conversations where people actually get to talk to one another. That's all I want. I want facts that are actually released and not, oh, well, we're going to run this through a ministry of truth. The Democrats were trying to do a ministry of truth just over the last year, where they, and we know for a fact that they were on X and Twitter and all of it, they were determining what you could or could not say. That is not how a democracy works.
Sounds like you want people to be held accountable for their words and actions.
I want an actual conversation. And so if this caterwauling and this emotional turmoil that they're in will actually lead them to something resembling sanity, I don't need you to agree with me, but I do need some degree of sanity here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then this is a beneficial event. Like I said, I'm not sitting here saying that Trump is this wonderful messianic figure at all. But if he can just get enough people to wake up and say, hold on, this is jacked up. I need to take my power back. We need to get power. Trump shouldn't have this much power. I don't care if you're as liberal as the day is long, but if you're like, you know what? I don't want Trump to have this much power over my life. Great. I agree with you. Let's take all that power back so that it's close enough where it's okay. I can actually have a say in my own life, in the politics that I have to, when the government I have to interact with. That's what I want. That's what I want for everyone. I want, if California wants to be a crazier than an outhouse rat, that's fine. I just don't want it to affect me. Let Austin be weird. Let Dallas be the crap hole that it is. But I don't want Washington to tell us how we're supposed to live our lives or control what we can see and hear.
Mm-hmm.
My Schadenfreude is not necessarily just Schadenfreude. It's actually optimism that that maybe this will wake enough people up that we can actually start moving forward and returning power to us, the people, so that we don't have to care this much about who's elected president.
Randy, what is your message to the people who are freaking out right now that Trump won? Or the people who are...
Jason.
Oh. Slow clap.
Thank you, sir.
Wait till you hear my speech, Randy.
Wait till you hear my speech. But I'm going to tell you right now, what I'm saying to them is it doesn't matter one way or the other now.
To them.
It doesn't matter what they think or how they feel because it's done. You can sit there and say, I'm never going to support him. Well, guess what? You ain't got a whole lot of choice now. And just like any other time that there's a president that got elected, when Obama got elected, I knew a bunch of redneck friends that that's not my president. I didn't vote for him. The minute Trump got elected the first time, I had a lot of black friends from the army. That's not my president. I didn't vote for him. Guess what, guys? They're your president, whether you like it or not. It's been done. It is what it is. If you don't like it, just carry on with your little lives and shut the hell up and leave it alone until it's time to vote again. Because it's over. It's over and it's done. All you can do is sit back and ride with it now. That's it.
But people are like, there's some people who are, I mean, I've been watching the videos on like TikTok and shit of like these woke liberals and the way they're freaking out. And they're like, they're like honestly scared for like women and minorities. They're like legitimately like, my immigrant mother asked me if I need a passport. I'm so scared. How could America betray us like this? Like, what would you say to those people directly if you could?
Are they legal? First of all,
yeah, I mean they're legal. Yeah,
okay. If you're legal, you've got nothing.
But no, but they feel like there's this whole like conspiracy against anyone who's not white, and they feel like it's us versus them. You know.
I don't think I would say that. I mean, I get where people get the feeling, but that's because of the way it's been portrayed.
Again,
honestly,
this damn thing.
Yeah, exactly. Once again, you said it right there. You were out on TikTok looking at all reactions. That's just it. Why are you reacting on TikTok to start with?
Oh man, because here's the thing though. Like I'm kind of like regretting supporting Trump because there have been all these women coming out on TikTok be like, for the next 4 years, my pussy is closed for business. We're going to punish men everywhere by not having sex with them. And I'm just like, as a single man, I'm like, no.
Well, you didn't want that anyway.
If they're shutting it down, you probably want to ask what.
So you guys are spoken for, so you don't care. But I'm a single dude. I'm fucked here, guys.
No, you're not, which is the problem.
You're not.
But my point is,
It
But I'm
stops you from
fucked. I'm
procreating. I'm good.
absolutely fucked.
Yeah.
You fucked me. You Trump supporters have fucked a single dude. Women don't want to have sex with men anymore because Trump won. Who does
Wait,
that
are
screw
there
over?
any
That
women
screws
having
over
sex
me.
anymore?
Yeah.
I'm the one that gets fucked in this situation,
Except-
not you. You guys are
yeah.
married.
But I don't think you want those, though. That's what I'm
No,
saying. The
not
ones,
really.
all the ones that I've
absolutely
seen that are
fucked.
like that, I don't think that's something you want.
There
to be part
goes
of
my
anyway.
whole dating life right there. Thanks a lot, you fucking Trump supporters.
They
Hey,
still
guess
have.
what?
Oh, what are you talking about? Your whole dating life? They still
Every
have.
woman out there, did you see that shit on TikTok? Every woman out there who's supporting Kamala, which is like
Yeah.
most women, they're all like,
actually not.
we hate men, all men now, and our pussies are closed for business. And single men
Jay.
everywhere are like, no.
There's you still have your. You can still get your waifu pillows. That's what I'm saying.
That stops him from procreating.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I don't see a downside here.
Because these
Yeah,
women are like, oh, you're gonna fuck with our abortion, then guess what? We're not having sex anymore. How about that, man?
You actually been paying attention to the women who are saying that? I don't think you want any part of them. Just
And I'm
stick
like,
to
no, I'm a
your
single
waifu
guy.
pillows,
I
dude.
saw no.
Hey, you may be dealing with the women that you might want to get your penicillin ready to go right away.
See,
Okay?
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I think.
I like
think
how
this
these
is
women
positive.
act like contraception isn't a thing. I'm
Yeah.
like, birth control pills exist, right? I'm just saying.
Yep. Anyway, was that your last comment, or did you have another
No,
observation?
no,
That
no.
was it.
Here's my
Thank
real.
God.
Here's my real
Okay.
message.
Ah,
Oh,
okay.
crap.
To the left.
Damn it, it's still
Okay.
going on.
So, okay. I'll be quick. Promise.
That's what
I
she
was
said.
I was once on the left for most of my adult life, right?
Mhm.
And I was, and I had some strong views, especially in college. Like when I was in college, I was very left. I was very anti, like Bush Jr.
Mhm.
I thought that guy was a total piece of shit in college. Okay, and and I voted for Kerry into re-election. I did.
See, we can't be friends now.
So, do you know what happened though? Where my whole political point of view switched? Because later, it was in my late 20s when I suddenly got very interested in history. Because before that,
Mhm.
I knew I was completely ignorant on history. I
Yep.
didn't care about history. But then I started listening to history podcasts, and actually because of Joe Rogan, and because of those history podcasts, I actually grew an interest in history and started
Mhm.
reading about it. That's where I was like, oh, just political bullshit. It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit. And at that point, I decided to take a more neutral stance. Because if this is Rome, I'm going to be one of those guys who are in Rome who's like, yeah, I know this society is doomed. It's happening. Like the collapse of
Mhm.
Rome. You always think,
Oh, yeah.
was there anyone in that time at that period who was just like, yeah, we're collapsing?
I think I
Here's
kind
the
of
problem.
picture Jason in the middle of it with a violin.
Oh, I got
playing
the
Yeah.
popcorn. So interesting point, because you're not wrong. But interesting point. We talk about the collapse of Rome like it was a thing. Rome wasn't built in a day. It didn't collapse in a day either.
No,
No, it collapses
It
mad
is.
gradual. You notice how there's no specific date for when it collapsed?
Yeah,
over 100
Yeah.
over 100 years.
Yeah.
the thing, like the only thing that really marks the end of the Roman Empire was when Byzantium, which was Constantinople at the time, was sacked by the Ottoman Empire. That's when Rome officially
Well,
ends.
I mean, there's so many people don't even agree on that shit. Some people
Yeah.
would say the time that the Roman Empire end is the day it's split into the Eastern and Western Roman Empire.
Yeah, when you get the
People
two,
will
when you get
point
the
to
two
that and say that's when Rome ended. Other
Well, some
people are
people,
going to be
some
like,
people,
when the Visigoths sacked Rome, they'll be like,
Yeah.
that's when Rome ended. Like everyone has a metric of like where Rome ended.
yeah, because there's no,
So-
because that's the whole point, is there isn't.
No one can agree.
History is far more fluid than we want it to be. We want to be
Yeah.
able to put things in boxes.
It's a lot more
and they don't.
three-dimensional.
Which is
I
why
don't think Rome
conversations are
ended.
important.
I don't think
But-
Rome really ended. I think Rome dissipated.
It actually,
Yeah.
there is an argument to be made that Rome never really ended. It just
It-
transformed
it
itself into
dissipated.
the Catholic
Yeah.
Church.
Yeah, I'm with Randy on this. Well, I mean, I understand the argument that is made for that.
Yeah.
And I think there's a degree. Again, this goes back to it dissipated, it transmuted, but that's
Exactly.
every culture on the planet, right?
Period.
That's how this all works. There
Mhm.
isn't a one day thing,
Yeah.
and I think we view history very truncated,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Because even what we think, oh, the revolution. It's like, guys, the revolutionary period was like 20 years long.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Again, Donnie, when we were doing questions, everything, we were talking about the Beast of Javudon, and we pointed out,
Which we will be doing again this Wednesday.
Yeah.
oh,
Let's say.
cool,
Hey,
excellent.
you want to come on for that?
I actually will be somewhere.
Wednesday?
Of
Yep.
course.
Oh,
Of
fuck
course.
you.
Don't come on.
I
Don't come
have
on me.
things to do. I have things to do, man. But yeah, but you had pointed out that in many ways, the 7 Years' War, the Beast of Gévaudan, it all leads up to the collapse of the French monarchy.
Mhm.
But this is a 20+ year period that we kind of look at as so there's the 7 Years' War, and then we have this revolution, then Napoleon takes power. It's like this is a 20-30 year period that we're discussing. You know, history is very truncated. We are in a very historically important time.
Yeah.
But we don't. The problem is because for us, we're in it. It moves slowly. But yes, to your point, understanding history is something, which is why they don't teach history in school anymore. If you understand history, you should be very lax or very reticent to give power any power.
It'll at the very
to
least would
government.
make you way more cynical.
But it also
Yeah.
means you're less likely to give power to the government, because
Mm.
if you've read any history at all, you're like, you know what, it doesn't ever really work, giving power to people in a governmental system.
Giving power to anybody.
And
Period.
okay,
Period.
so okay.
Yeah.
And my direct message to anyone out there who is still listening by this point
Why
and
would
might
you?
be feeling stressed out or anxious or worried or afraid or sad or angry or resentful that Donald Trump won, my message to you is this. I was once on your team. But then you had to put all that gay shit in my beloved video games and comic books. You made Laura Croft flat-chested.
Yeah.
You made
That's
Superman
just-
gay.
That's just unimaginable.
You put all
Sorry.
this trans woke ideological bullshit in my beloved video games. So you know what? My support from that point on went to Trump. Not because I'm conservative, because all of you woke retards can go fuck yourselves and suck my dick. Good night.